again, guys, and welcome back to another pickups video. So it's kind of that weird time of year now where the car boots are starting to come to an end, especially with the terrible weather we seem to have every single Sunday, and also the big releases of the year are coming out. But you know, I'm still looking for those old classic retro games and still getting those amazing pickups. But I have been looking at different ways of picking up games. Sometimes it's not just as simple as you think it is. You have to really get in your head and think of the best way to get the most bang for your buck. But I'm going to speak about that later in the video, so first off, let's jump into our first pickup. Recently I've been thinking about all the games that I really need to add into the collection, and the next game is one of those games that I think if you collect retro gaming you really need to have in your collection. So I've just been waiting to get this at the right price, incomplete and in really nice condition, and the first game we've got to talk about this week is of course The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. This is an absolute classic game on the GameCube. One I've been wanting to get for a long while. I never actually played this game, even though I also have the HD remaster on the Wii U. But I wanted to go back and get the OG GameCube version. And the best thing about this one, it is a limited edition with the double discs. So you get Zelda Ocarina of Time and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest, which you can only play on this edition of the game. There is a lot of people who sell this with a disc missing or with this plastic bit snapped in the middle. So getting this game in such amazingly good condition, totally complete, is another really good one to lock off the list of games I must own. That brings us nicely on to our first question of the video, and that is, if you were giving advice to somebody who's just starting to collect retro gaming, what would be some of the big games you recommend they add into their collection straight away? This could be because the games are just iconic, or because you think they're games that are going to rise in price over the coming years. And I think Wind Waker definitely falls into both of those categories. That's why I'm glad I locked it into the collection, because that's going to get an expensive one down the line. The funny thing about retro game collecting is sometimes things just happen in pairs. So it's been a long while since I bought a Zelda game, but this time I've actually bought two. The other game I bought this time is The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. This is again a game I never actually played back in the day. I don't know why, I just didn't really have an interest in Zelda back when they were first released. I didn't really play the Nintendo DS that much. So I'm really glad to pick this one up. Again, it's another game that's only going to get more and more expensive. Games like Zelda, Mario, your first party Nintendo games are always going to be really high dollar items. Again, this one is absolutely perfect condition, fully complete. A very important thing with looking for Nintendo DS games now is making sure they are legit as well. A lot of people are making fake copies, so I'm glad to say I've opened this one up and checked it is a proper copy. So let me know in the comments down below, which Zelda game should I jump into first? Is it going to be Phantom Hourglass when I'm on the move, or staying at home on the GameCube with Wind Waker? I've mentioned this before in my videos, but one of my favourite ways to pick up decent deals on games, especially on Amazon, is using the Hot UK Deals app. Basically, if you can put some keywords in there, and when they flash up, you'll get a notification of some of the best deals. Especially on Amazon, these can go super quick, but they absolutely slash the prices on some pretty good brand new games. The first one this time is Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition. This came up as a Hot UK deal for just $9.99. $9.99 for a brand new Switch game is really good. So I've never actually played through any of the Darksiders games, but it's always good to have them on the Switch so you can play them portably. It kind of looks to me to be kind of your standard open world action kind of game, kind of a mix between Zelda and God of War, so I'm definitely looking forward to jumping into this one very soon. Another one I picked up from Amazon for just £5 is this Shenmue 3 Day 1 edition. So I don't think this was a game that had a very good launch. I don't know if it's because it hasn't aged well, if people just didn't want to wait 20 years or whatever it was for the third game to come out, or what it was. But, you know, I do need to go back and play through the Shenmue games. But I don't really know, do I play them on the original Dreamcast? I know they have done the kind of remake of 2 and 3 on the PlayStation 4 as well. So I know to grab that one. So let me know, do I go OG or PS4 remake? The final game I picked up on Amazon again for just £5 is City Skylines Park Life Edition. So, you know, it's a classic kind of game like the original SimCities, but it's just so much more detailed now. This is actually a really difficult game. I have actually played a version of this on Games Pass, but you know what I say about Games Pass, it's always good to own these games physically, because you never know when it'll be taken off Games Pass, you're going to lose access to that game forever. When we're looking for video games, obviously we normally look for games that are good. No one really goes out of their way to play bad video games, kind of the way that people watch bad movies. A bad game can just be terrible, and it is nothing worse than it happens to a beloved franchise that you really, really like. But I decided to pick up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. This game is really quite bad. It is absolutely glitched. It is even worse, especially if you don't put any of the patches on it and jump straight into the game. I don't really know what went wrong with the Tony Hawk's franchise. Hopefully now, because they've kind of remastered Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, they'll either continue to remaster the games or just make a new game which isn't total garbage like this one. The franchise just seemed to go really bad. You know, up to Tony Hawk's Underground 2 was fantastic. We kind of had worse games on the Xbox and Xbox 360. So hopefully soon they can bring out another decent Tony Hawk's game and not a glitchy mess like this one. Hopefully you watched my video last week about my love of the N64 and how it really got me back into video games at a much younger age. The N64 still to this day is one of my favourite consoles of all time and one I really enjoy collecting for. At the moment especially, it seems to be that the games are getting actually cheaper, especially box games. For many years I only collected loose games, but recently I've been able to add quite a few boxed N64 games into the collection. So if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know I've been picking up boxed N64 games from CEX. That's because you can get them really cheap, but the gamble is you never know what condition they're going to come in. So I've actually been buying quite a few of the lesser titles from eBay at the moment. So these are all games you can pick up for around £10 boxed, and you can then see on eBay what the condition is going to be like. So the first one is V-Rally Edition 99 on the N64. So this was kind of a game which competition was mainly Top Gear Rally. I've already put this one into a game protector. These are really good because they kind of help reshape the boxes. A lot of these boxes kind of got bent and scratched and just kind of put out of shape. These boxes kind of put them back into shape. It's a really good driving game. The N64 had some really good driving games. For my money, I wouldn't say it's quite as good as Top Gear Rally. That was an absolutely fantastic game. But yeah, boxed N64 games, around £10 on eBay, very good. Today when we think about football games, we only think about FIFA. But back on the N64, FIFA still had some decent competition from the little known series known as ISS. So originally I played ISS 64 loads back in the day, but recently picked up International Superstar Soccer 98. So basically I think if this just improves on the original in any way, it's probably going to be a really good game. I'm not really a massive football fan or even a fan of football games, but for some reason back in the day ISS 64 really resonated with me. I think it's because it was such a good local multiplayer game and what I actually got surprisingly good at, so I'm looking forward to jumping into this one and seeing how much better it is than the original. As I said earlier in the video, I think now is a really good time to pick up some cheap, kind of more the filler titles or the low value titles for the N64 complete in the box. Either from going down the eBay route or the CX route, they just seem to be quite cheap at the minute and you never know when the market's going to go up. It's very rare that they get any cheaper. Both those games were around the £10 mark, so I'm definitely looking to add more boxed N64 games into the collection. We've come to the final pickup of this video, and this is what I'm calling the Pokey Gamble. So, as I said earlier in the video, I'm looking to add games into my collection which I think are going to get more and more expensive. And one of the biggest franchises where the games just keep getting more and more expensive is, of course, the Pokemon games. So I managed to add 4 games into my collection this time, but there is a bit of a but to that. Here are the first games we picked up. It's Pokemon Omega Ruby and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. So 2 really good Pokemon games on the 3DS. These 2 come as a pair, and we also have Pokemon X and Y. So it's always good to get both games from the kind of each installment of the franchise. But, and here is the big but, these are all just the case. There is not even instructions for these are all just cases. No games. And this is where we come to the Pokey Gamble. I managed to get all of these games for around £10 for the 4 empty boxes. I feel that the hardest part of getting any game is getting the artwork and the original case, because any given day if you go on eBay there is lots and lots of loose copies of just the cartridge. With these games, I'm not overtly looking to get the instructions. I just want it in the box, the game cover and the cartridge. So my theory is I should be able to pick up just the cartridges cheaper and make this a better way of doing it than buying the game complete. Will my gamble pay off? Who knows? We'll find out down the line. That brings us to the end of the video, and I think you'll agree there's some pretty good pickups this time. But the thing is, it's all about evolving, changing how you look for games, kind of knowing the market. With any collection, you really need to know what you're doing, know the price of games, and looking for ways to get them cheaper, thus the Poke Gamble. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe. I put new videos out every single Saturday. Please like the videos, it really helps the channel. And as always, thanks for watching and keep playing the game.